On December 2nd to 3rd, 1984, 40 tons of a gas called methyl isocyanate leaked from a tank at the Bhopal plant owned by Union Carbide India Limited. Chemicals released caused approximately 4,000 people to die. The Bhopal plant was surrounded by neighboring towns, due to which over 600,000 people were exposed to harmful and poisonous gases. An investigation had been conducted in order to reveal details about the gas leak. The MIC unit was said to be sealed off 6 weeks prior to the gas leak. The investigation revealed that the presence of water in the MIC storage tank resulted in a chemical reaction and caused the gas to leak. The valve of the tank opened up due to the increased pressure. The negligence on behalf of employees and Union Carbide is to blame for this disaster. The chief executive of Union Carbide, Warren Anderson, was heavily blamed for the gas leak. There were many reasons for the disaster to be caused, and it could have been stopped very easily if the engineers acted ethically just as they were supposed to. Now we are going to review the ethical issues of the case. Based on professional misconduct, Section 72.2a indicates negligence means an act or an omission in the carrying out of the work of a practitioner that constitutes a failure to maintain the standards that a reasonable and prudent practitioner would maintain in the circumstances. There was poor maintenance, such as vent gas scrubbers were out of service, safety systems were not functioning properly, and safety valves were not in a good working condition. This proves that the plant operators were negligent. Most pipes were incapable of producing the needed amount of hydraulic pressure into the MIC tank. These pipes should have been replaced and updated as soon as possible, but the engineers did not take this very important issue seriously. Section 72.2b indicates failure to make reasonable provision for the safeguarding of life, health, or property of a person who may be affected by the work for which the practitioner is responsible. The fact that the safety systems were not adequate shows that they failed to safeguard public welfare. Sirens to warn the public of any potential gas leak were also turned off. Section 72.2c indicates failure to act to correct or report the situation that the practitioner believes may endanger the safety or the welfare of the public. The engineers had noticed MIC gas in the air, but proceeded to take a tea break and deal with the tank afterwards, which shows that they failed to correct the situation before it got worse. Managers did not stop the plant even after many economic issues to safely operate the plant. They did not have enough money to replace old pipes and other parts, but still continued to keep the plant running on major risk of sudden failure. Based on Code of Ethics, Section 77.2i indicates that a practitioner shall regard a practitioner's duty to public welfare as paramount. For example, people around the plant did not know about MIC and other toxic chemicals. Managers mostly cared only to save money, and workers weren't properly trained nor properly informed about the dangers of the toxic chemicals within the plant. When it comes to generating courses of action, analyzing the situation, and making decisions, we came up with 3 alternatives. Doing nothing is always an option. This will mean not taking any precaution or action. This violates all of the stated ethical issues. The second option is to inform the manager of any safety-related issues. Manager might not take any course of action against the claim, which also violates the ethical issues. The third option is to inform the manager and go up the chains to inform PO if the manager is not taking any action. This means that PO is going to handle the situation and most probably the gas leak could be avoided.
This case deals with tort law, which means a civil wrongdoing that caused physical, emotional, and financial damages to a person. Tort law does not need to be a contractual agreement between the parties. The plaintiffs of this case would be anybody who suffered from the gas leak. The defendants who would be workers and engineers that worked at the plant. This would include Union Carbide, specifically Chief Executive Warren Anderson. The 3 key principles for tort law are: 1. The defendant who owned the plaintiff a duty of care. 2. The defendant breached his duty by their conduct. 3. The defendant conduct caused injury to the plaintiffs. In our case, unintentional tort law was committed where a careless act performed by the defendants caused damages to plaintiffs. Defendants breached their duty of care, which caused about 4,000 people to die, and many others had to suffer from disabilities as a result of the toxic release. The gas leak caused many side effects such as irritation of the eyes, burning throat, nausea, skin damage, coughing, and death. The legal precedence that relates with this case is Winnipeg Condominium Corporation versus Bird Construction Company. The court decided that Bird had a duty of care to Winnipeg, who suffered financial loss as a result of repairing the defects. The court would likely decide that engineers and decision makers of the plant are liable for damages caused to the public. In the light of the events that followed Bhopal, it is clear that there is a need for a proper mechanism of compensation. This case also deals with concurrent tortfeasors, where multiple people in a tort case are found guilty, and the judge has to decide who bear what percentage of the guilt. Also, vicarious liability, which explains that deep pocket theory that indicates the employer would pay for any damages caused by the employees. as the employers are more financially stable. This basically means that since Union Carbide was the main employer, they would most likely be responsible for compensating the plaintiffs.